Well, it's that time of the year, folks. Still don't know how time flew by so fast, but welcome back to O'Colly TV. I'm Connor Burgan, and thanks for stopping by. Today's a big one here for all students at OSU, as it's the first day of school, which means it's time for some Cowboy athletics. While students and faculty from OSU and across the country, they headed back home for the summer to relax down by the lake or doing whatever things us college students still do, Oklahoma State athletics has been extremely active with so many different moves being made. From the biggest headlines to new faces arriving to town, there's so much to get you caught up on to keep you in the loop for your first day of the year. So let's try and recap it as much as we can. Now let's start things off where the iron has been hot on the gridiron, as Cowboy football is less than 10 days away. After coming off their best season in over a decade, and before this season begins, multiple Cowboys are on the watch list for a multitude of awards, and that begins with quarterback Spencer Sanders. Sanders, who's coming into his senior year here at OSU with a lot on his shoulders after his performance last year under one of the most efficient offenses in college football, throwing for over 2,800 yards and rushing for over 600 with a combined 26 total touchdowns. On top of those numbers, Sanders also finished the season on one of the best notes possible with his performance in the Fiesta Bowl against Notre Dame, tallying nearly 500 total yards with 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. Sanders has begun gaining some national attention as someone to watch as a breakout quarterback for his dual threat capabilities. So far, he's already been listed in the preseason All Big 12 team and has now been added to 3 separate award watches for this upcoming season, including the Davey O'Brien Award, the Maxwell Football Club Award, as well as the 4th oldest individual college football accolade with the Walter Camp Player of the Year. Sanders won't be the lone Cowboy named on the award watches, as 7 other Cowboys have been nominated as players to watch out for this season. Now let's continue and start shifting gears towards the diamond sports. You can't be remiss about the summer that Cowboy baseball had when it came to the MLB draft. Almost feels as if Stillwater, Oklahoma was at the center of it all, as the first pick in the MLB draft was by the Baltimore Orioles, and that was Stillwater's own Jackson Holliday, who's the son of former 7-time All-Star and current assistant coach to Oklahoma State baseball, and Matt Holliday, and nephew to head coach Josh Holliday. But back to the Cowboy program. As for the first time since 1984, 3 players were selected in the first 3 rounds of the MLB draft, with pitcher Justin Campbell, highlighting it all, being selected in the first round by the Cleveland Guardians. Now, this is the first time a Cowboy has been selected in the first round since 2013 with Andrew Heaney. By the end of the draft, 9. Yeah, you heard that number right. 9 Cowboys heard their names called to be drafted, but only 8 of them will actually begin play in the minors. Two-way player Nolan McLean and the Baltimore Orioles were unable to come to an agreement after being selected with the 81st overall pick in the 3rd round, as McLean will now be returning back to Stillwater to play out his senior season. While there's a lot of gaps to fill for those losses that big for head coach Josh Holliday, the Cowboys have been hot on the recruiting trail in that transfer portal. While there's still a lot of time left and players that can be moved around, Holliday's been aggressive with bolstering up that pitching staff, as now 3 new pitchers have committed to OSU, including Jaron Watts-Brown, Jansen Keisel, and Brian Hendry. But let's keep that main focus on Watts-Brown for right now. The former Long Beach University pitcher, he'll come into Stillwater to look to replicate this late success he built on last season. Brown finished last year with a 3.6 ERA for the Dirtbags, tallying 111 strikeouts to just 29 walks. That's a pretty impressive strikeout to walk ratio. Now, that's pretty impressive, but let's focus on the month of May. And that's where Brown was actually named the NCBWA National Pitcher of the Month, going 3-0 with a 1.64 ERA, allowing a batting average under .150 in totaling 55 strikeouts in just 33 innings. That's like Jacob deGrom numbers right there. Brown also threw the first no-hitter in the program's history against UC Riverside in May, striking out one shy of a program history with the no-no, with 16 total strikeouts. Now, while we touch up on the additions being made to bolster up that baseball program, this is kind of a great time to transition to start discussing cowgirl softball into diamond sports. Just like baseball, cowgirl softball has been on a tear when it comes to building through the transfer portal, after making yet another impressive College World Series run last year. It's been no secret that the Cowgirls pitching staff is in the elite category throughout the entire NCAA, and what better time than to start getting some more offensive reinforcements. Now, out of the 7 new additions to this Cowgirl squad coming in through the portal, The biggest addition this season will be coming from shortstop with Rachel Becker from Purdue. Now, Becker was an absolute menace and a pain in the side for all pitchers to get her out. Becker led the Big Ten in batting average with a .434 average. Yeah, you heard that one right. That average helped her become named in the first team All-Big Ten list. Now, other notable additions to the squad include former infielder from OU and Alex Waitman, Kansas infielder Michaela Wark, pitcher from Virginia Tech and Ivy Roseberry, Alabama pitcher Lexi Kilfoyle, and Alabama infielder Megan Bloodworth. While all the new additions will help continue OSU's race to another World Series run, one of the most important pieces to that puzzle is actually going to be sticking through 2027 and head coach Kenny Gajewski. Gajewski's been a proven winner at the helm for one of the best programs in the country since stepping foot here in Stillwater, amassing a total of 269 wins in just 7 seasons. On top of the wins, Gajewski has been named the NCAA postseason all 7 years in Stillwater, reaching the regionals 6 times, as well as 3 appearances in the Super Regionals and College World Series. Coming into his 8th year as coach for the Cowgirls, Gajewski, he's going to look to continue on to add to that momentum, as his program has become after being Big 12 champions last year. Now, that's a great transition point. Let's start shifting gears down to the hardwood, Gallagher-Iba Arena. Hit it with some Cowgirl basketball. After a poor performance last season and being one of the bottom programs in the Big 12, with the dismissal of head coach Jim Littell, it's time for some new blood for the Cowgirls and for head coach J.C. Hoyt, and she's been aggressive at doing so through that transfer portal. Now, some of the notable additions made to this roster include the Division II Ron Lenz National Player of the Year from Southwest Oklahoma University, Makira Tramble, former guard from UT Arlington and Claire Chastain, and also some much-needed help on the interior with the addition of German forward Praise Akariva. Akariva will be one to keep your eye out for every single night on the hardwood. After playing the last 3 seasons in the Women's British Basketball League, Praise was a force to be reckoned with last year with inside-the-paint scoring, strong post moves, shooting nearly 50%, and also the ability to crash the glass with the best of them, placing 3rd in the league in total rebounds. Now, she would also finish her year averaging a double-double and also taking home the name as the WBBL Young Player of the Year for her amazing efforts. Now, that's going to start to wrap things up here for the summer, all the news that's gone on. Well, we may have recapped all the things that have happened. You got to make sure you keep tuning into the Ocali. Now, whether it's by picking up one of the papers or by tuning into Ocali TV to keep you in the loop for all things OSU athletics. Have a great first week in class, Cowboys. For Ocali TV, I'm Connor Burgan.